There exists a legend, whispered in hushed tones among a select and wary few. It is a chronicle of otherworldly forces steadfastly loyal to the Emperor, an army forged from pure flame and an insatiable thirst for vengeance. A brotherhood of warriors who, though they bear the semblance of Space Marines, are, in truth, 100-fold more lethal than any Astartes. These warriors manifest when all hope is lost, as if emerging from the afterlife itself to bring swift and final retribution upon the Emperor's many foes. Having exacted their bloody toll, they vanish, once again becoming a part of the enduring legend. It is said these warriors dwell in the space between our world and the realm of the warp, within the hopes and dreams of the desperate, in a pocket dimension illuminated by the flames of their eternal hatred. Few have witnessed their sudden, devastating strikes, and even fewer possess the iron will to retain their sanity in the aftermath of such encounters. This enigmatic force is known simply as the Legion, or, more accurately, the Legion of the Damned. Of the Legion, very little can truly be said with any certainty. While a few scattered facts have been painfully extracted from the countless compiled accounts of their sudden materializations, they invariably launch their assaults to pluck a segment of the Imperium from utter catastrophe, hinting at a prophetic gift far surpassing that of even the most extraordinarily prescient seers. And each time the Legion of the Damned manifests on the battlefield without any warning. Emerging from sulphurous clouds of roiling flame, they march into battle from oblivion, clad in armor adorned with symbols of ultimate doom. With terrifying efficiency, they annihilate their foes, wasting not a single word, nor even a single motion. Among the Imperial savants, various rumors circulate about the Legion's true nature. Some scholars, studying the history of the Adeptus Astartes, consider the Legion of the Damned to be the embodiment of psychic constructs that broke through into reality from the Imperium. Events like the Istvan massacres or the deaths of the Primarchs were so utterly horrific that they left indelible scars on the souls of all the first founding legions. These scars, if the theories prove true, run so deep that they not only formed upon the souls of the earliest Astartes, but were also inherited by hundreds of chapters established in the wake of the heresy's cataclysm. Space Marines loyal to the Emperor hold a deep conviction that traitors must atone for their transgressions, and this retribution will be brought forth with hatred and purifying flame. It is quite possible that the librarians of the Adeptus Astartes draw strength from this very conviction, and, whether by chance or intentional design, manifest it into reality, resurrecting the spectral forms of their fallen brethren, granting them a final opportunity to exact a bloody retribution. These Imperial savants contend that the Legion's spectral forms are given corporeal reality by the fervent conviction of the Space Marines, who believe that the guilty must face retribution. A similar theory exists among more radical thinkers, who see the Legion of the Damned as a kind of mass hallucination, and sometimes as a manifestation of humanity's collective will. They hold the belief that the subconscious power of irrational hope, fused with humanity's latent psychic abilities and the stimulating threat of impending death, is potent enough to influence reality itself. The essence of this theory postulates that, while an ordinary human individual may possess only a minuscule fraction of spiritual and mystical abilities, the innumerable trillions of people populating the Imperium collectively constitute vast reservoirs of psychic energy, capable of being harnessed during times of critical peril, even by those who are unaware of what they are doing. And so, the spectral Adeptus Astartes emerge, embodying the full spectrum of hopes and horrors gripping the besieged Imperium, bearing the heavy burden of both deliverance and retribution upon their formidable shoulders. This theory is further supported by the distinct symbols of fire and death, commonly associated with the Adeptus Astartes, clearly visible on the armor of the summoned warriors. If this hypothesis is true, then the legionaries' weaponry is no more tangible than their own forms. However, the flames that burst forth from their semi-imaginary bolters are substantial enough to incinerate the enemies of mankind, or to tear their very bodies to shreds, precisely as ordinary mass-reactive bolts would. Such is the latent psychic energy residing within ordinary humans. The Legionnaires are perpetually clad in ceramite power armor, black as the void itself. No matter where they materialize, whether in the brightly illuminated chambers of a planetary governor, or beneath the harsh brilliance of the noonday sun, their armor appears to drink in all light that strikes its surface. Not even the beam of a powerful searchlight can illuminate it. Only a cold fire lights the withered bones and skulls that adorn their armor, and the armor itself shimmers as if the legionaries were doused in some flammable substance and set ablaze. It is likely that this phenomenon is psychic in nature, for the fire flares brighter when the legionaries' blades plunge into the flesh of their enemies. Numerous reports mention that at the climax of battle, the legionaries seem to transform into pillars of fire. In such instances, these warriors fought with unimaginable fury, only to eventually succumb to the very flames they embodied, vanishing completely from reality. In close combat, the Legion of the Damned legionaries truly excel, showcasing not just their genetically enhanced physiques, but also the profound skill and tactical insight honed through countless battles and extensive experience. Knives cleave through joints and pierce the beating hearts of their foes. Bony fingers tear throats and gouge out eyes, before, red with blood, they grip their bolters once more. Here and there, a thrown knife claims the life of a fleeing enemy. They never seek to wound, their sole aim is to kill. The legionaries always attack with such perfectly precise and calculated economy of motion that even the Adeptus Astartes can only stare in wide-eyed astonishment. Even though their ornate power armor seems no more resilient than that of regular space marines, the legionaries remain impervious to impacts that would easily bring down even a warrior clad in tactical dreadnought armor. To use energy blades against them is utterly futile, as though one were merely striking at the empty air itself, and melta-beams and plasma blasts simply pass right through them, as if the legionaries don't exist in that reality at all. Rarely do such weapons find their intended mark, inflicting truly horrific wounds. Yet even this fails to slow the warriors' relentless advance. Those witnessing this otherworldly spectacle frequently mistake their rescuers for phantoms, but the sheer devastation they unleash rapidly dispels any notions of their ethereal nature. Those who bear witness to an assault by the Legion of the Damned are most profoundly impacted by the fiery wrath emanating from these vengeful spirits. The very air bursts into flames from their bolter shots, pierced by spears of terrifying energy. Furthermore, the legionaries possess an extensive array of flamers, including both standard and heavy variants, alongside multi-meltas, which they wield to mercilessly incinerate any foes attempting to flee their sudden, devastating strikes. As for those adversaries who simply freeze in sheer terror, realizing their destiny has so abruptly shifted, the warriors literally tear them to pieces with precise bolter fire. Among the few undeniable truths regarding the Legion of the Damned is that its warriors unfailingly materialize precisely at the critical juncture, never arriving prematurely, nor ever belatedly. Appearing in the most advantageous positions, they bring death to the enemies of the Imperium. The very concept of reliable and safe passage through the Imperium has long since become an obsessive, mesmerizing dream for the Imperium's rulers. For its intelligent use would dramatically alter the destiny of humanity in the entire galaxy, enabling armies to deploy to crucial positions with incredible speed. Thus, it comes as no surprise that many within the Ordo Chronos, a division of the Inquisition specializing in temporal anomalies, have been tasked with uncovering the Legion's profound mysteries. Many in this secret brotherhood devote their lives to hunting the damned, even willing to sacrifice their own for a brief word with a legionary. Yet every instance the Ordo Chronos operatives approach their elusive targets, events inexplicably conspire to impede their efforts. Cave-ins, telekinetic surges, sudden mass aneurysms, and even exploding vehicles have all inexplicably thwarted curious investigators until the Legion has once again vanished from the flow of time. All of this gives the impression that the Legion's warriors do not wish to be interrogated, and indeed possess more than enough power to ensure that such pleasantries are rendered utterly and completely impossible. It is noteworthy that post-battle analysis of picked captures indicated a mysterious characteristic, even for what appeared to be typical Astartes combat tactics. Imperial savants have come to the conclusion that the legionaries are capable of discharging significantly more rounds than their magazine capacities would logically suggest. And what's more, even throughout the longest and most drawn-out battles, not a single recording or picked capture has ever shown them reloading their formidable weapons. Having turned the tide of battle and saved those who needed saving, the legionaries simply vanish. Some witnesses recall merely looking away for an instant before the warriors vanished, while others describe the spectral saviors flickering like a fading hologram just prior to their complete disappearance. The strange interference that invariably accompanies these disappearances consistently obstructs any thorough recording of the Legion's withdrawal from combat. The machine spirits of recording devices that manage to track the Legion's arrival are inevitably left so tormented that only the most gifted Magos or Tech Marine can revive them to uncover even a fraction of their secrets. There is yet another exceptional characteristic concerning any significant manifestation of the Damned. Swiftly vanishes from memory. For an investigator to glean any first-hand information, witnesses must be debriefed within days, or ideally mere hours, of the occurrence. This is because all recollections of the enigmatic Space Marines spontaneously vanish, much like a dream or nightmare that fades from memory upon awakening. Nevertheless, the persistent odor of scorched flesh lingers in the nostrils and on the tongues of witnesses for weeks, years, or even for the remainder of their days, provoking disquieting thoughts whose true source they will never comprehend. Despite the strange coincidences that too often interfere with investigations, enough information has been gathered in the Imperial archives to confirm that the phenomenon of the Legion of the Damned appears time and time again. Each of these appearances is studied in minute detail by representatives of the Ordo Chronos. However, it must be stated that their investigations often yield more questions than answers. One of the most famous appearances of the Legion of the Damned is the battle for the Phalanx. The Phalanx, a formidable supership serving as a fortress monastery for the Imperial Fists, was in orbit over Terra when warsmith Shontu and his demonic allies emerged from a warp rift directly into the ship's very core. A furious battle began, in which the newly restored Third Company attempted to stop the boarding action. The corridors quaked from the thunderous roar of bolters, yet nothing could truly halt the relentless fury of Demon Prince Be'lakor. Shontu proceeded to the gunnery decks, intending to wield the continent-eradicating weapons of the ship to bombard the Imperial Palace itself, located on the surface of Terra. Due to insufficient warriors to repel the boarding action, the Imperial Fists executed an emergency warp jump, and the fierce battle raged on aboard the Phalanx as it hurtled through the howling currents of the Imperium. It seemed the corrupted vessel was on the verge of falling, but then a spectral fire blazed forth on the lower decks, utterly incinerating the demons that had been swarming through the corridors. But when the spectral flames subsided, the Legion of the Damned materialized in unprecedented numbers, commencing the purification of the Star Fortress's iron corridors. They mercilessly exterminated the warp spawn who had survived the initial devastating impact. The Imperial Fists, already braced for their final stand, found their spirits reignited and unleashed a ferocious counterattack against Shontu's forces. Thanks to the valiant efforts of these legionaries, Chaos was decisively defeated in the battle for the Phalanx, allowing the mighty vessel to subsequently play a pivotal and crucial role in the catastrophic events surrounding the fall of Cadia.